Danny asks, okay, but if a piece of evidence isn't brought up by either attorney, can we still use it? Such as what? I mean, I want you guys to use your own, knowledge to determine what the facts are. I think I will have to rule on that, such as a forum post. Okay, let me see.
Belmore.
Um,
Borg will probably have to leave for about 30 minutes.
The defense did bring that article up, or the forum post, I should say. It's fine if we don't want to include it, but it is in the defense's discovery, or I should say, like the counter case. As far as what's in deliberation, it's fine if we don't want to include it. I don't really care.
Okay, the evidence got submitted, but it wasn't used. That's what's happened.
So
I don't know if you're asking anyone in particular or not.
Hopefully we're quick about this one.
I'm trying to work this out now. I say you can include it. That's fine. Yeah, I say you can use it as evidence, and if Danny says it directly contradicts something the defense said, that's fine. You just decide what do you believe, or if you think that discredits the defense, then that's fine too. Come to your own conclusions. All right. So, Decagon, how do you want to begin your case?
I'd like to call the defendant, ironically, as our only witness to the stand, if he'd be willing to.
Can he voice chat, or is he going to be talking in statements?
I think typing, but I am under the assumption he's a pretty quick typer.
Ooh, do I get to read again?
Okay. You do, Kills. Seems like it. All right, begin, Decagon. Statements.
Statements, okay.
I might have to edit his perms to let him talk.
Oh, I can't even talk in there. Yeah, probably. Which makes sense.
Edited his perms. He should be able to talk now.
All right, Borg. So, as a defendant, are you okay? He can type. All right, great. So, as you're aware, you are being accused of 8 different charges, and these range from obstruction of justice, fraud, criminal conspiracy, blackmail, money laundering, multiple nations on the same network, other automation, exploit abuse. I mean, there's a certain point where I wonder, is it almost comical to you? And this isn't relevant necessarily to any type of judgment, but have you had to deal with this or these types of accusations for, like, is this the first time you've run into this?
It seems like the prosecution trying to accuse me of everything possible.
There's an awkward silence, so I'm just like...
Spanky was on Ron earlier, just after the SI drama between Riddler and him, before I was on accusing me of various things. From those accusations, this is the result of what managed to catch on. Or at least that's what it seems like.
Okay. So what I'd like to bring up is we'll just go charge by charge. It seems like the simplest way, the cleanest way. The jury can get a nice presentation, as to what the witness is going to state, which is ironically also the defendant, charge by charge. Which the first one would be the obstruction of justice, and it's hard to look at the prosecution's discovery, in my opinion, and link what piece of evidence is showing the charge. But we're going to assume that it's the deletion of the messages in the group chat. Did you happen to know that you were going to be in Thalmoria Court being charged with this obstruction of justice whenever you deleted? Oh,
Obstruction of justice, I assume, is the deletion, but there was no investigation. And I have other reasons for wanting to delete things.
okay. Would you say? Oh, sorry, still typing.
Never mind. Go on.
Do you think, in your opinion, and I want to emphasize that this is a personal opinion, do you think that what was leaked, would you consider that OPSEC, like the information that was leaked on your end entirely and only? Is it considered like OPSEC or sensitive information?
I have had experience in the past with HiGev chats getting leaked, namely by Mars. When Elder Rachel betrayed us and leaked, so I know firsthand the amount of drama that can come from leaked chats, and it was in my interest to avoid that.
For the sake of those who might not be aware, partially including myself, could you tell us who this Elder Rachel even is? I'm only aware of the former alliance that he or she was in. I'm assuming she.
Former Error 404 HiGov. Head FA. They left and joined Morningstar.
Okay. And I have a hunch I know where this is going to lead on the prosecution side, and I don't want to deviate too far. But is it safe to assume that you're mentioning this to portray some type of mutual understanding as far as what the current situation is in regards to you having to deal with this similar scenario with Elder Rachel, as far as having like higher government or OPSEC chats being leaked?
Not sure I really understand the question, but just giving context as to why people in general don't like being leaked on.
Yeah, I think most of us would actually agree with that, but I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth. So, Borg, I do want to ask, the group chat that's been leaked via Spanky that also has yourself and Riddler, there is a section that 100% does show a small percentage or a small chunk of a conversation that looks like Spanky is talking to himself, that we're all gonna be aware of, that he's talking to you. Is that the only portion of this group chat you deleted?
The joke section I deleted almost right after I said it.
Okay.
I purged stuff when Spanky started going crazy and adding randoms to it, slandering me and Ron.
Would one of those quote unquote randoms be ironically one of the prosecutors? Okay, so we can see a clear cast, widespread of people that were added to this group chat, and it's I think it's a relatively safe assumption to say that Borg, probably just like anyone else here, doesn't want their stuff to get leaked.
Might be some others, but not all that relevant.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there might have been. I don't know. I do think it is important for the jury and for everyone to know that that portion of the group chat that we all have very public access to is not the current status of the group chat. All of Borg's messages are deleted. And I know that there are mentionings of there being a time span between when he deleted the rest. I'm unable to prove it. Apparently, so is everybody else. But what I can show, if it's questioned, is that everything from Borg was deleted. So I don't think it's really fair to paint this picture that he only deleted that tiny sliver when the truth is it's all gone. And it's for the sake of OPSEC. And I think we can all agree that, and I'm not trying to put words in anyone's mouth, but who likes to get leaked? Nobody. With that said, I want to move to the second charge of fraud. Actually, I'm going to skip that one because I'm not really even sure which part of the quote-unquote evidence mentions fraud. The criminal conspiracy, again, this is all, in my opinion, what I would call hearsay. It's people that used to play the game, that don't play it, that refuse to be a witness. I shouldn't say refuse. I take that back, but are not able to be a witness. We're going to take the words of NPO. People that had the ability to alter these tax rates, to run these exploits, and actually, transfer funds. We're going to take the words of these people over Borg. Like I do find it like quite ironic, and I just ask, like, where is the actual proof? Where is the proof beyond a reasonable doubt? What is a reasonable doubt? Is it hearsay? Or no, I shouldn't say hearsay. Is it a DM from someone to someone else that says it was somebody else? Is that really what beyond a reasonable doubt is? Where are these grand instructions? Where are these from Borg to Eric? Do this step. Do this step. Then after that, like, where are these? Where is this grand plan at? Is it telepathic? Is it DMs?
As far as I know, when Alex investigated, all in-game evidence pointed to NPO. This stuff surfacing after 2 years of revisionism.
I'd agree, and I will admit that I did not play during the NPO times, but I did thoroughly read the forum post from Alex that addressed it. And if there was more to it than that, I can admit that maybe there's more to it. But at that point, why do we have Borg on trial? From my understanding, he has done nothing but provide a public bot for everyone in the game to use, and to help debug the game, which is sadly not publicly mentioned enough. So with that, we're going to go to the next charge, which is blackmail. The blackmailing charge, the defense assumes that is in regards to Locutus and some of its higher functions, mainly the raid command. So the raid command, was that something that was, in your opinion, like imperative or crucial to the growth or success of the alliance called Space Invaders?
I am speaking for Borg, by the way, for everyone here. It's my bot. I can do what I want. The raid command is a private feature I had made available to Space Invaders. I think it's a false premise to frame it as me blackmailing Spanky, since I was an integral part of the Alliance, operating the bank, and Riddler and I having higher rank on Discord. After weeks of hostility from Spanky, it was no longer in my interest to work with him anymore.
Interesting. You mentioned operating the bank. Borg, I'd like to further question, when you say operating the bank for Space Invaders, assuming that's what you meant, how is that possible? Did you have an actual role as far as the bank was concerned for Space Invaders? Was it an actual responsibility that you were given the assumed responsibility for?
I was the banker for SI. Space Invaders.
Okay.
I controlled the bank and generally performed most transfers that weren't done via members withdrawing using the bot. Spanky was never trusted with complete control over the bank.
Okay. Okay, so is it safe to say, from my understanding, that you were essentially the head of the econ for Space Invaders up until recent events?
Yes.
Okay. So, in your opinion, and I'm sure there are other econ people here, but that's irrelevant. In your opinion, who do you believe has the... Ooh, it's going to be a touchy one, but who do you think has the ultimate say, more or less, in regards to an alliance's bank? Would you say it's the leader? Would you say it's the head of econ? Somebody else? Or would you say it's more of like a gray area?
Sorry, I'm thinking. It was never meant to be a dictatorship, so we were meant to discuss things between ourselves. With Gov, Spanky wanted to be a dictator, and others involved didn't like that direction.
Okay. Is it, in your opinion, that this sort of relationship is shown in this leaked group chat?
Yes.
Okay. And just to be clear, this relationship that you do believe is being able to be viewed, it is public for anyone to look at right now. Anyone could pull up this group chat and see this. In your opinion, okay.
It leaked, so yes.
Okay. So with that said, the blackmailing, I personally don't really see. I don't really see any concrete proof of it, other than what I believe what the prosecution's witness said earlier, that it was more of a worry or concern, which I will admit is sort of concernable or worrying. But as far as it's the defense's understanding, all of the funds have been sent out. All of the members' deposits have been, I shouldn't say withdrawn, but sent to the members. I'm not really sure where the blackmailing has come from. I don't know what was held.
The blackmailing is in-character drama, which doesn't have any relevance to game rules, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. With that said, I'd like to move to the next charge, which is the money laundering. Are you familiar with what money laundering is, Borg? And don't take this as I'm not trying to down talk, just...
The charge is essentially that I hacked in the funds, transferred it, and used MPO to launder it, etc.
Okay. Yes, I'm under the assumption that that is also...
Which I reject, since it was and is MPO that did those actions.
Okay. So I'm going to be quite blunt in these next few questions. You were indeed in the alliance named MPO, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. During your entire tenure in the alliance, did you personally obtain any role higher than a member?
No.
Okay. Is it to your understanding that, I mean, can members... So if anyone here is not aware, the general MPO exploit was altering tax rates. Altering tax rates in-game. So taxes would be generated at, thousands, if not even higher, times fold over than what they normally can be. And I don't know, Borg, are you under the assumption that members are able to alter tax rates?
No.
Yeah, I also am not aware of members that are able to do that. If there are iterations where members can do that, that's unprecedented, but I don't really show anything evidence-wise that illustrates this, except for, fear or worry. And I think that's sort of the precedence of the case, more or less, is people being worried.
I hate to interrupt you here, but Borg has to go soon.
Yep, we're almost done. As far as the other charges, I'm actually ironically going to sort of glance over them and jump down to the exploit abuse one, which more or less I think would be safe to lump in with the maybe criminal conspiracy charge. I'm under the impression that Alex himself actually addressed the exploit, which was the alteration of the tax rate. Borg, did you alter the tax rate?
No.
Yeah. I didn't think so. Did you? I mean, did you somehow
Alex would have the authority on this.
Yeah. Well, it's to our benefit that there actually is a public post, which is I won't call it very detailed, but there is indeed a forum post that more or less addresses this exploit. I can't post it in the statement, but I'll put it in the chat. It's the resource spawning exploit post, which was made by Alex himself, and it vaguely addresses what this exploit was, how it more or less happened. I will admit it's not very detailed. I would like to have more details myself. But the only thing I see is that Borg is credited for finding and bringing it to Alex's attention. And luckily, we don't have to live... it only happened for 3 turns, thanks to Borg. It could have happened for more, but Borg was able to discover it and bring it to Alex's attention before it became something monstrous. And I mean, this is just it's a pretty clear post. Oh, Evan, okay. Beyond that, I really don't have anything else to say. I mean, is there anything that you would like to add, Borg?
Nope.
Yeah. With that, I don't have anything else really. That's the defense's entire... There's not much to go with because there's really not much to chart. There's really not much ground to stand on, in our opinion. So we didn't have any witnesses. We didn't have much evidence because there just really isn't much evidence. And it's a little disheartening to see someone who has wholeheartedly tried to help the community with one of the only, and I want to emphasize that, one of the only public bots in this game, even still to this day, despite all of the allegations. And I wouldn't call it harassment. It's less than that. But with the constant bombardment of accusations, has anyone here actually, and this is rhetorical.
There are other public bots, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're not under as much scrutiny as Locutus. I just want to ask rhetorically, has anyone here actually had a problem with Borg? And with that, we rest our case.
Well,
Prefontaine, would you like to cross-examine Borg?
Absolutely.
Very well.
So,
you may begin.
During the defense's questioning,
I really got to go, by the way. For like 2 minutes.
Talking about your bot, you said, it's my bot and you can do what you want. And I fully agree with that statement you made. You can log into other accounts and change permission sets like you did for the leadership role for Spanky, correct?
You were mincing my words.
No, that's exactly what you said. You said it's your bot. You can do what you want with it.
I mean, in the context of what I can allow people to use.
But yeah, so you have full control over it. You can do whatever you want with it. You can make whatever changes you want to it. You have the source code. You have the unlimited access. So you can go in and make those changes.
Objection. Anyone who makes a bot in this game is able to do the same exact thing.
So you're proving my point.
No.
So he can't do that then.
No,
You're trying to spin it as if he's the only person.
Sorry.
Objection sustained. Oh, nope, sorry. Wait, hold on. I forgot the term.
Overruled.
Overruled.
Yeah, overruled. Yeah, overruled. Prefontaine. Move on to your next question.
Wait, so is it sustained or does he have to answer my question?
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. I disagree, Prefontaine, with your line of questioning. Move on to something else.
To add on to your leading question, Spanky could have moved himself to leader when his VM ended.
Did you move his permission set for him?
Yes.
When you were with NPO, why were you talking with Eric about moving all these funds? What was that conversation about?
I don't recall having such a conversation.
So those logs with the Denzig name, that's not you?
I am Danzig. The logs aren't anything. I said. I don't know what the password is.
So it's as far as I know. So you believe those logs to be doctored. That's your, or you don't remember one of those two.
Correct.
So you kind of rose to power, or sorry, poor choice of words. You became involved with Alex during the NPO scandal. That was was that one of your first interactions with Alex to that level, or had you been
No.
in contact?
I had reported exploits prior.
And since, I'm aware. So was this your first time getting to a role with Alex? You're on the API team or something to that effect, correct?
I don't think the API team existed back then. But a lot of people, which much less of a history with Alex, are part of the API team. It doesn't take much to be on it besides knowing how to code via the API.
Do you believe it's fair for someone like yourself or even me, I have the same accolades in game with the Orbis Hero Award for my contributions to the game. Since we have contributed to the game, do you feel we stand above the rest of the community? That we should not be beholden to scrutiny should logs pop up or statements that
I never
individual
asked for their reward.
or statements that if I made an exclamation that I cheated in $150 billion from NPO, do you not think it should be looked at?
I want to play the game. I don't want or need to be elevated to a position of influence.
That wasn't what I asked. Do you feel that you should be held in a higher standard?
I think anything with evidence should be looked at.
Okay. In lieu of time, I want to be respectful.
Yeah, sorry. I was responding to the former part of your question.
I'll let it go there just because, like I said, I want to be respectful of the time to our witness.
Thank you.
And Decagon said that he had rested his case, and besides, I think Borg needs to go anyway. So thank you, Borg, and I believe we're done. Prefontaine rests the prosecution's case. You're right. It's been 3 hours. I'm tired. Prefontaine, you go first.
So the defense wants a reasonable doubt. That's been their claim the whole time. Yet the only offer they've given were, he's a good guy. He hasn't done anything wrong in the past. He's outed some complaints. Doing the right thing does not abscond you from doing the wrong thing, even if it was once or twice or a few lesser things or versus one big thing. That is not a defense. That is a hope. A hope is not a plan. A hope is, hey, look, I'm a good guy. Leave me alone. It's okay. I wouldn't do those things. I'm not the one you're looking for. And Borg even just himself admitted that that's not what you should be looking at with people like him, or even people like me. People that have done things to help the game to grow should not be above scrutiny, should not be beyond flaws. And if we look through the charges, he admitted that logs were deleted. That's obstruction. Evidence was destroyed. That's obstruction. He accessed another account by his own admissions for permission changes. That's fraud. That's assuming the identity of another nation. That's what fraud is. He conspired to commit any crime. That's conspiracy. Any crime with more than one person. He planned to change permissions with Spanky. So he planned fraud with another individual. I haven't even gotten to what the defense has hung its hat on. They were talking about the SI Bank involvement. No one's talking about SI Bank involvement. No one cared that he had control of that. No one cared about any of that. There was no reason. The defense, that's why they had one witness. That's why it took so little time. They had nothing. There is nothing to refute these charges. They've admitted them. The blackmail, Spanky said he was in fear of losing his alliance's property. The charges, if he had outed Borg earlier, he was scared that his alliance himself, they would lose their money because Borg had control of the bot and he had control of the bank. Whether it was legitimate or not does not mean he was not in control of those funds. If I'm an alliance leader and I blackmail my members for whatever reasons, for whatever gains, it doesn't matter. I'm putting them in fear that they're going to lose their stuff because because I have control of their bank. That is what blackmail is. It's a fear of loss based on duress. And Spanky stated himself he was a victim of both of those requirements. Money laundering. Funds were moved from NPO. The witness does refute that. It is from 2 years ago. However, the numbers match up. As Mars brought up, all of these things match up over time. They have Borg's name. They have his fingerprints on it. The logs have his fingerprints on it. All he can say, they're not his. It's from 2 years ago. I wish I was able to bring you NPO here to help confirm those logs. I wish I was able to bring you Eric. Unfortunately, due to their history in this game, you can't blame them for not being here. Going on to the last 3 charges, multiple nations on the same network. That's logging into someone else's account to change permissions. He admitted to it. Game automation. As I said in my opening statements, there's very clear guidelines in the game rules. Very clear about where automation is allowed, where bot access is allowed, on trades or on bank access. Nowhere does it allow for moving rank. And that's where other automation violations fall under. Moving rank, which the witness stated he did. Exploits, he is how do you think he found it within 3 turns? Do you think he told him about it? That's how he was involved. He was the one shuffling the funds. Doesn't matter that he's a member. He was shuffling funds between their offshore that was controlled by Eric, and he was the one who showed them how to do it. And then what happened with the money? Some of it, all of it, was deleted according to Alex. It could have gone elsewhere. That's not what's on trial. The money moved through him to Eric of staggering amounts that could not have been rated, that could not have been legitimate, and it raised enough flags with someone who is allegedly this cheating mastermind to go, whoa, that's a lot of stuff you're sending me. It's got to be on the up and up. He was arguing to Borg that it needed to be on the up and up, and then Borg took it back based on what the logs say in the evidence. It says, well, okay, I'll get the receipts. Which alliance do I need to send it to? That's what Eric was saying in the deleted half of the logs where he was speaking to Borg. The evidence is overwhelming for anything relating to him accessing the network. It's all been admitted to. The defense wants to hold its hat or hang its hat on things that have no relevance. They brought up no points that were on target for any sort of reasonable defense. In fact, that's why they glossed over so many things when going through my opening list of charges. Because, well, this is that, and this is that. The only spots they had anywhere to stand was on stuff that was 2 years ago that we can't provide direct, firsthand witness testimony to because they don't want to come here. But we have their logs, we have their statements, we have corroboration of sources through Mars. The defense rests.
Decagon, you are up.
Yes, hello. I appreciate the prosecuting's arresting statement, and I want to say that it does indeed seem that we as the defense had little to stand on. That's because there's really little to stand on. There's not really much, in our opinion, to show a reasonable level of guilt. We do see logs. We do show, Jill and Joe and Jane and whoever, but not Borg. We show everyone under the sun saying it's somebody else. But I hope that we don't forget that all of these people are banned people that were the ones in charge, that had the permissions to actually alter these tax rates, to transfer the funds. It wasn't Borg. It wasn't Borg. Borg was not able to, as a member, adjust tax rates. He was not, as a member, able to transfer funds. But you know who was? The people that, the prosecution hoped to have as witnesses. Is that a reasonable level of guilt? I don't think so. It's a questionable level on the prosecution's behalf, but not toward the defendant. As far as obstruction of justice, if you delete an entire group chat and a sliver of it gets deleted, right as you begin and someone just so happens to save it and you use that as your evidence, meanwhile, it's taken days for you to be charged with the obstruction, I don't know. It's like speeding in your car and then getting charged for speeding a week later. I don't know about that one. You didn't know you were going to get charged to begin with. Did Borg know he was going to get charged for deleting his group chat logs, days later? I don't think so. I don't think he was trying to obstruct it. Fraud? I'm still not even sure how to adjust this one. I don't know who Borg is pretending to be. As far as I'm aware, he's Borg. A criminal conspiracy, again, all we need is just one screenshot of Borg saying, hey, Eric or Diana or any of these witnesses that the prosecution is using as their foundation. Hey, just do this. Edit the tax rate. Send the funds here. Do this or that. All we need is just that. And you're right, he would be guilty. But I emphasize that he would be. But unfortunately, we're not able to get those. Where are these? Where are the actual screenshots that show Borg was involved? Yeah, Jill and Jane, like I said, Jill, Joe, Jane, everyone under the sun is saying that Borg was involved. But how was he communicating this grand master plan to all of these people? Masterminded. That's the word I've seen. Masterminded. How did Borg do this? If it wasn't through messages, if it wasn't through Discord or in-game, why is no one able to procure these mastermind plans? It's just all, he said that, she did this. But no one, was it telepathy? I don't know. Blackmail, I think we can all sort of agree that the blackmail is more or less a fear, which is understandable. It's a fear of losing. I don't know. It's a little touchy. I think the blackmail one is a little touchy, maybe more so touchy than most want to really tap into. The blackmail one regarding Space Invaders and or Spanky and or Borg, I think this is a personally / potentially emotionally driven charge. And it's sad and unfortunate because the truth is, Borg sent all of the members' deposits out, and if I remember correctly, when we had Spanky on stand, he was one of the very first ones to request his funds to be sent out. And this was after this leak was made public. Borg was still seemingly, sure, I'll send your deposits out. So where is the blackmail? Money laundering, again, I sort of linked that one with the criminal conspiracy. Where is it? Just a simple bank transfer log or a screenshot of, so-and-so sent this and that there. And I don't mean a DM. I mean, just go to Alliance, click on bank. Just a simple factual log. What we do have is Alex stating that, it was MPO and crediting Borg. So, a lot of these charges, it's very hard to. Are we discrediting the creator of the entire game, or are we going to go ahead and go with people that are banned from the game? It's very disheartening, I would say. The other charges, other automation, the bot doesn't work on its own. I don't know if anyone here uses Locutus. I do. I've never had Locutus just run commands on its own. It's not sentient. It doesn't do things on its own. You have to enter the commands. And whenever you do these commands, it tells you what's going on. So it's not like you're oblivious and it just takes over everything. Every bot in the game could do this, so it's a little, in my opinion, it's misleading. In our opinion, it's misleading. Exploit abuse, again, this is the criminal conspiracy, money laundering. I highly doubt Alex is unable to find out. If you guys read the forum post, he addressed, 3 turns, yada yada. I highly doubt that. The stuff that supposedly Borg exploited, where is it? Where is it? Where is the actual overwhelming evidence that shows this? It just isn't there. There is overwhelming evidence that Alex himself said, I addressed it, I located it via the help of the defendant, and we deleted all of it, despite the people that are accusing him otherwise. Beyond that, Luna, if you have anything to say, my part's pretty much done. I think there's no evidence here that shows even remotely close to guilt, let alone a reasonable doubt of guilt. I think it's asinine.
And I'm just tired. Let's just get this over with.
Okay, with that, I believe the defense's closing statement is done.
All right, well, that's the trial. Now it's going to go to the jury for deliberations, and I don't know how that's going to go. I'm going to try to pound this out tonight. Maybe sometime between 1:30, 2 o'clock, have it done. But there was also some indication that they wanted to review the audio recordings from tonight, so I don't know if it's going to be a weekend thing. But for right now, at this minute, for this hour, I'm going to be working with them, see if we can get some verdicts in. Try to get, actually not some, get all of them in tonight. So what I'm going to do is y'all can stay. If Zig can go ahead. Well, Zig, how much gas do you have in the tank? How much gas do you have in the tank? Can I end the recording and upload? Yes, go ahead and do that.